Thanks for tuning in to the Conscious Hour. I've been talking about Western media and how it's a bunch of big propaganda machine. Here's another example. Just watch this. It's less than 10 minutes, probably 8 minutes or something. That you'll see that what the media has been telling you in the United States has nothing to do with reality. Nope. It's the worst I've ever seen. Usually you can crack, break holes in this propaganda machine, but oh no, it's cloned. It basically, the zebras took over all the networks, and if they speak out of line, they get fired.
Yeah, in Western media, we haven't seen any outrage. In the UK, in the US, we haven't seen bold headlines condemning him for this. And we haven't seen a single major journalist. These journalists that have millions of followers or hundreds of thousands of followers, who knows how many of them are real or not, but none of them have shown outrage, not before and not now. It's normal to say, but if you heard to say this about Iran, but if someone in Iran, let's say some obscure MP from some far-off city in Iran that I've never even heard of, comes out and says, we will wipe the French people from the face of the earth, or we will wipe the French people. Imagine the outrage or the response of Western media, which we often see. Some person who is not even in charge, they quote him and then they attribute things to him, or they misquote him, or they distort what he says. We've seen that a lot, how they would twist the wording and then make what the president or some former president had to say. But here, Trump, an English speaker, not the greatest of English speakers, but he has said the same thing in different ways so many times that it's clear as day what he's threatening to do. He's threatening to carry out the most horrific Holocaust in human history by far. And even if he doesn't choose to carry this out, this is itself terrorism. You're being threatened. Your entire family, your neighbors, your neighborhood, your city is being threatened to be demolished. But complete indifference in the West. We also saw this earlier when he spoke about Cuba. And we should never forget what's going on in Cuba either. The Cuban people are besieged and they're being terrorized, and Trump has threatened in the past to destroy Cuba. But again, no outrage, nothing in the so-called civilized world. So they've demonized us so much in the Western media. They've depicted us as subhuman for so long that it doesn't bother any of these elites. I know that it outrages many, many decent people in the UK and in the US and across the world and across the West. But among the elites that have seen class, it's not even something that deserves to be discussed, apparently.
Well, of course, you make the point that he doesn't speak English very well. That's definitely a problem. But that he speaks entirely contradictory English is more of a problem. It's not actually possible, not being a psychiatrist, to decipher one Donald Trump from another, and there are multiple Donald Trumps. So on the principle that, in the words of a very good friend of mine, once at the top of the tree in British political journalism, half of all political news is entirely made up, entirely invented. And then much of the other half.
Imagine that. Half of the news is pure BS. It's politically driven news. Don't ever forget that. This is George Galloway over in England talking about his country. Same thing. Same media moguls own the big companies. They control what you think. And you've been programmed for a long time, because remember Disney and the Disney movies and the Hollywood productions, all about war and fighting and gun battles and you name it, violence. Yes, because we make that a normal thing to accept in America. We see it on TV. We go to the movies. We like to see people blown up. We like to kill people. That's what they go to the movie for. That's called entertainment. So you know you have a huge psychopathy when these people are going to the entertainment centers and watching these war movies, or even if it's dinosaurs. It's the battle of these are going to conquer this and everything's conquering everything. You have been programmed. You are so down the tube you can't even see the daylight. But that's okay because they keep funneling that light ray that's coming through all the darkness. It can't get through because you're being held back because you can't get that ray. No. You can. All you got to do is stop watching the U.S. media. Just stop watching it. Turn on YouTube. Get some news from someplace else. Go to the Conscious Hour. Then you can find out what's really going on.
Is exaggerated, distorted, half-truthed, and all the rest. But the half of it is literally made up. Did Barak Ravid of Axios, for the 7th time this morning, make up the story that a peace deal between the US and Iran was, in his words, imminent?
Yes, it was completely fabricated, and it is believed here that this was to manipulate the markets. And by manipulating the markets, people around Trump and around Witkoff, and probably Kushner too, have made most probably a huge amount of money today. But there is no truth to it. Of course, there are other reasons to manipulate the markets. If they can keep the price of oil, paper oil, down, at least, it serves a psychological purpose, even though you know better than I that oil is not being sold on the spot market in prices, anything that are similar to $100. It's roughly $150, $140 per barrel of oil. Sometimes it goes even much higher. But this is all.
So if we had a media that was reporting all the impacts that are occurring because of this illegal war brought on by the United States and Israel, people wouldn't be putting their money in the market right now because they know, look at the price of everything going sky high. Yeah. But the people who are making money on it is they know when it's going to go up, so they put some money in there. And when it goes up, they know before it falls, so they take money out. Just think of how much money Kushner and Trump and all his associates have been making on these market fluctuations. It's called gangster capitalism, folks. That's exactly what it is. So start saying the word gangster capitalism. Every time you mention it to somebody, yeah, the U.S. gangster capitalists. That's what we're doing. This is the Conscious Hour. Thanks for tuning in. Please hit the like and share button. And please leave your comments. And please donate. Thanks.